The world will humiliate you. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly, systematically, deliberately. Someone will insult you in front of others. They will mock your ambitions. They will question your intelligence. They will laugh at your failures. They will do everything in their power to make you feel small, worthless, and broken. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can react like most people do, which guarantees they will do it again. Or you can respond like Machiavelli taught, which guarantees they will never dare to try it again. This is not about forgiveness. This is not about being the bigger person. This is about understanding that humiliation is a weapon, and every weapon can be turned against its user. Today, you will learn the protocol that separates those who get stepped on from those who build empires on the backs of their enemies. Let me be completely clear about something before we go deeper. Humiliation is not random. People don't humiliate you by accident. They do it strategically, whether they realize it or not. When someone humiliates you publicly, they are performing a social execution. They are trying to lower your status while raising theirs. They are trying to establish dominance. They are trying to show everyone else in the room that you are weak and they are strong. This is primal behavior. This is the same behavior you see in wolf packs, in primate hierarchies, in every social structure that has ever existed. The person who successfully humiliates another person gains social currency. They gain respect from observers. They gain power. And if you respond incorrectly, you confirm everything they just said about you. Most people respond to humiliation with one of three reactions, and all three reactions guarantee failure. The first reaction is immediate anger. They shout back. They insult the person who humiliated them. They try to match aggression with aggression. This feels powerful in the moment, but it's actually the weakest response possible. Why? Because anger is proof that they hurt you. Anger is proof that you lost control. Anger is proof that they have power over your emotions. Everyone watching sees this. Everyone watching notes that you are emotionally reactive, which means you are predictable, which means you are controllable. The second reaction is defense. They explain themselves. They justify their actions. They try to prove that the humiliation wasn't deserved. This is even worse than anger, because defense is admission of weakness. When you defend yourself, you accept the frame that you need to prove your worth. You accept that the person who humiliated you has the authority to judge you. You give them power over your narrative. The third reaction is retreat. They go quiet. They leave the situation. They try to pretend it didn't happen. This is the worst response of all because silence without strategy is surrender. It tells everyone that you accepted the humiliation. It tells everyone that you have no power to respond. It tells everyone that you are safe to attack again. So, if anger fails, if defense fails, if retreat fails, what actually works? The Machiavellian response is completely different. It operates on a principle that most people never understand. When someone humiliates you, they have just given you information. They have revealed their insecurities. They have shown you their tactics. They have exposed their need to dominate you publicly. This is valuable intelligence. This is a gift wrapped in poison. And the first rule of the silent revenge protocol is this: never interrupt your enemy when they are making a mistake. Let them humiliate you. Let them enjoy their moment. Let them think they won. Because in their moment of victory, they are planting the seeds of their destruction. Here is what happens in the mind of someone who successfully humiliates another person. They feel powerful. They feel superior. They feel safe. And this feeling of safety is exactly what makes them vulnerable, because they stop watching you. They stop considering you a threat. They move on to their next target, their next victim, their next opportunity to feel powerful. And while they are busy celebrating their victory and hunting new prey, you are doing something completely different. You are studying them, you are watching their patterns, you are noting their relationships, you are identifying their weaknesses. You are building a map of their world, and you are doing all of this in complete silence, with no visible reaction, with no hint of what is coming. Machiavelli said something that most people misunderstand. He said, "It is better to be feared than loved." But he didn't mean loud fear. He didn't mean obvious fear. He meant the kind of fear that comes from uncertainty. The kind of fear that comes from not knowing what someone is capable of. The kind of fear that comes from realizing too late that you attacked the wrong person. This is the fear you create through silence. When you don't react to humiliation, people don't know what to think. They expected anger, defense, or retreat. They expected a predictable response that confirms their dominance. Instead, they get nothing. They get a blank face. They get a calm demeanor. They get someone who seems completely unaffected by what just happened. And this creates a question in their mind that will haunt them. Why aren't they reacting? The human brain cannot handle uncertainty. It needs explanations. It needs patterns. It needs to understand cause and effect. When you break the expected pattern of response, you create cognitive dissonance in the person who humiliated you. They start questioning themselves. Did it not work? Are they not as hurt as I thought? Are they planning something? Am I in danger? These questions are the beginning of their psychological unraveling. But you cannot let them see these questions affecting you. You must remain perfectly neutral. You must continue your normal activities. You must show no sign that anything changed. This is harder than it sounds because your ego wants revenge immediately. Your emotions want to lash out. Your pride wants to defend itself. But the silent revenge protocol requires something most people don't have: patience. Patience is not weakness. Patience is the ultimate power move. Because while they forget about you, while they move on to other targets, while they get comfortable in their perceived victory, you are accumulating power in silence. You are improving yourself. You're building resources. You are creating options. You are positioning yourself strategically. And most importantly, you are waiting for the perfect moment. Machiavelli understood that revenge is not about immediate satisfaction. Revenge is about permanent results. Quick revenge feels good, but changes nothing. Strategic revenge changes everything. It removes the person from power permanently. It ensures they can never threaten you again. It sends a message to everyone watching that you are not someone to be humiliated without consequences. But here is the key that most people miss. The revenge is not about hurting them emotionally. It's not about making them feel bad. It's not about getting even. The revenge is about removing their ability to hurt anyone ever again. This is why the silent revenge protocol focuses on dismantling power, not attacking pride. You don't insult them back. You don't humiliate them publicly. You don't engage in the same petty behavior they used on you. Instead, you systematically remove the foundations of their power. If their power comes from social status, you quietly build relationships with people more powerful than them. If their power comes from their position, you quietly become more valuable than them. If their power comes from their reputation, you quietly collect evidence of their failures. You are not attacking them. You are simply becoming someone they cannot touch. And then something interesting happens. The person who humiliated you starts noticing changes. They notice that people respect you more. They notice that you have opportunities they don't have. They notice that you are rising while they are stagnating. They notice that the room treats you differently now. And they cannot understand how this happened, because you never fought back. You never challenged them. You never gave them the satisfaction of a reaction. You just quietly became more powerful than them. This is when the fear begins. This is when they realized they made a mistake. This is when they understand that the person they humiliated was not weak. They were strategic. They were patient. They were playing a different game entirely. Machiavelli wrote about this principle extensively. He said that men judge by their eyes and not by their hands, because everyone can see, but few can feel. What he meant is that people judge you by what they see on the surface, not by what you are actually doing beneath it. When you react emotionally to humiliation, everyone sees weakness. When you stay silent and strategic, everyone sees strength. And over time, the visible strength you demonstrate through your results speaks louder than any words you could have said in defense. Your success becomes your response. Your elevation becomes your revenge. Your power becomes your proof that they were wrong about you. But the silent revenge protocol has levels. The first level is personal elevation. You become better than you were. You become more valuable, more skilled, more connected, more powerful. This is the foundation. Without this, nothing else works. The second level is strategic positioning. You place yourself in situations where the person who humiliated you needs something from you. You become necessary to their success. You become someone they cannot ignore or bypass. This reverses the power dynamic completely. Now, they need you more than you need them. The third level is public demonstration. You don't attack them directly. You simply demonstrate your value in front of the same audience that witnessed your humiliation. You show competence where they showed weakness. You show leadership where they showed insecurity. You show character where they showed pettiness. The contrast speaks for itself. And here is what makes this protocol absolutely devastating. You never mention the humiliation. You never reference what they did. You never give them the satisfaction of knowing they affected you. You simply rise. You simply succeed. You simply become undeniable. And everyone who witnessed the original humiliation now sees a completely different story. They see someone who was attacked and responded with excellence. They see someone who was knocked down and came back stronger. They see someone who turned humiliation into motivation and emerged more powerful than before. This reframes the entire narrative. The person who humiliated you is no longer the powerful one. They become the villain who tried to stop someone clearly superior. Now let's talk about the ethical boundary here, because this is important. The silent revenge protocol is not about becoming a bad person. It's not about destroying innocent people. It's not about using power irresponsibly. It's about protecting yourself from predators by becoming someone predators cannot touch. When someone humiliates you, they reveal themselves as a predator. They reveal that they gain satisfaction from making others feel small. They reveal that they will do this again to you and to others if they face no consequences. Your strategic response is not cruelty, it's justice. It's protecting yourself and potentially protecting others from the same treatment. You are not attacking them, you are simply removing their ability to attack you or anyone else. Machiavelli also said something crucial that people often ignore. He said that injuries should be inflicted all at once so that their taste is less bitter, while benefits should be granted little by little so that they may be savored more fully. This means that when you finally execute your strategic response, it should be comprehensive and decisive. You don't take multiple small actions that they can defend against. You don't give them opportunities to adapt or counterattack. You wait until you have accumulated enough power, enough evidence, enough positioning that your move is undeniable and irreversible. This might take months, it might take years, but when it happens once and it happens completely. Let me give you a practical framework for how this actually works in real situations. Someone humiliates you in a meeting at work. They mock your idea in front of everyone. They make you look incompetent. Your immediate emotional response wants to argue, to defend, to prove them wrong. But you don't. You stay quiet. You note who laughed. You note who looked uncomfortable. You note who defended you. This is intelligence gathering. After the meeting, you don't complain. You don't explain yourself to others. You simply focus on making your next idea undeniably good. You do extra research. You prepare better. You anticipate objections. And in the next meeting, you present something so well prepared that nobody can mock it. You don't mention the previous humiliation. You don't say, "See, I told you so." You simply demonstrate competence. The contrast speaks for itself. But you also do something else. You start building relationships with the people in that room who matter. You help them with their projects. You share credit generously. You become known as someone who adds value rather than taking it. Meanwhile, the person who humiliated you continues their pattern. They mock others. They tear people down. They create enemies. And slowly, the room turns against them. Not because you campaigned against them, not because you told people what they did, but because their pattern becomes obvious to everyone. And when it comes time for promotions, for important projects, for critical decisions, people remember who adds value and who destroys it. You rise, they stagnate, not through direct conflict, but through demonstrated superiority over time. This same principle applies in social situations, in relationships, in any context where someone tries to diminish you publicly. The key is always the same: silence, observation, elevation, strategic positioning, and then demonstration without direct confrontation. You let your results speak. You let the contrast speak. You let time reveal who was right. Because humiliation is temporary if you respond correctly, but the power you build in response to humiliation lasts forever. The person who tried to break you becomes a footnote in your story of success. They become the obstacle you overcame. They become proof of your strength rather than evidence of your weakness. Here is something most people never realize. The person who humiliates you is usually insecure. They are usually threatened by something they see in you. Maybe it's potential they don't have. Maybe it's authenticity they cannot fake. Maybe it's courage they lack. Whatever it is, they see something in you that makes them feel small. So they try to make you feel smaller. This is actually valuable information. It tells you that you have something worth protecting. It tells you that you are on the right path. It tells you that you are threatening to people who should feel threatened. Secure people don't humiliate others. Powerful people don't need to diminish others to feel powerful. Only the weak attack. Only the insecure humiliate. Only the threatened try to destroy. So, when someone humiliates you, thank them silently. Not because what they did was right, but because they just showed you exactly who they are and exactly what they fear. They gave you a map to their weakness. They revealed their insecurity. They exposed their tactics. And now you have something they don't have: knowledge without emotional reaction. You see them clearly, while they see only their projected image of you. This asymmetry is power. This clarity is advantage. This information is ammunition you will use when the time is right. The silent revenge protocol is not passive. It's actively strategic. Every day after the humiliation, you are taking action. You are improving. You are learning. You are building. You are positioning. You are preparing. The silence is not inaction. The silence is focused intensity. The silence is controlled fury channeled into productive elevation. You are not doing nothing. You are doing everything that matters while showing nothing that warns them. And this makes you incredibly dangerous, because they cannot defend against what they cannot see coming. Machiavelli spent his life studying power. He watched kingdoms rise and fall. He watched leaders succeed and fail. He watched strong people get destroyed and weak people gain thrones. And he discovered that the most powerful people in the world share one characteristic: they never react emotionally to attacks. They process information, they analyze situations, they make strategic decisions, they execute plans, but they never let emotion dictate their response. This emotional control is what separates rulers from ruled. This is what separates predators from prey. This is what separates those who shape their world from those who merely survive in it. When you master the silent revenge protocol, you join a different category of human being. You become someone who cannot be controlled through humiliation. You become someone who transforms attacks into fuel. You become someone who gets more dangerous the more they are threatened. And people sense this. They might not be able to articulate it, they might not consciously understand it, but on some primal level, they recognize that you are not someone to be trifled with. They recognize that attacking you has consequences. They recognize that you play a longer game than they do. And this recognition becomes your protection. This recognition becomes your power. You don't gloat. You don't remind them of what they did. You don't humiliate them back. You simply act with professional courtesy while maintaining your position of power. You help them if it serves your interests. You ignore them if it doesn't, but you never give them personal power over you again. You never trust them again. You never forget what they revealed about themselves. But you also don't carry hatred, because hatred is heavy and power is light. You simply exist in a reality where they are no longer relevant to your emotional state. They are a factor you manage, not a person who affects you. This is the ultimate form of dominance. This is true freedom from those who tried to break you. Some of you reading this right now are thinking about someone who humiliated you. You are remembering the moment. You are feeling the emotions again. You are wondering if it's too late to respond. Let me tell you something important. It is never too late to begin building power. It is never too late to start the protocol. It is never too late to transform yourself into someone who cannot be humiliated. The only question is whether you are willing to do what it takes. Are you willing to control your emotional reactions? Are you willing to be patient when your pride wants immediate revenge? Are you willing to focus on building power instead of getting even? Are you willing to play the long game when everyone else is playing the short game? Because here is the truth that nobody wants to hear. Most people will never implement this protocol. Most people will continue reacting emotionally to humiliation. Most people will continue being victims. Most people will continue letting others control their emotional state. Most people will continue seeking approval from people who don't matter. And that is exactly why most people remain powerless. That is exactly why most people go through life feeling small, threatened, and controlled by others. They never learn the fundamental principle that Machiavelli spent his life teaching. Power is not given. Power is taken. And it is taken through strategic action, not emotional reaction. You have a choice right now. You can close this and go back to your normal patterns of response. You can continue letting humiliation break you. You can continue reacting emotionally to attacks. You can continue being someone who gets stepped on and forgotten. Or you can decide today that you will never be humiliated again. Not because humiliation won't happen, but because when it happens, you will respond like someone who understands power. You will respond like someone who plays a different game. You will respond like someone who transforms attacks into fuel for their ascension. The world is full of people who humiliate others. The world needs more people who refuse to stay humiliated. The world needs more people who understand the silent revenge protocol. Machiavelli wrote his greatest works after being tortured and humiliated by his enemies. They thought they destroyed him. Instead, they created a legacy that lasted 500 years. They are forgotten names in history. He is eternal. That is the power of the silent revenge protocol. That is what happens when you respond to humiliation with strategic excellence instead of emotional weakness. Your enemies become footnotes. Your obstacles become stepping stones. Your humiliation becomes the origin story of your empire. This is not fantasy. This is not motivational nonsense. This is the cold, hard reality of how power works. And now you know. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge?